Welcome to Hobby Central, a show that brings you into the world of hobbies. Hi, I'm Doug Benson, and on today's show we'll be visiting with airbrush artist and die-cast enthusiast Sonny DePalma. We also caught up with military model expert Ed Oken as he brings us into his world of armored vehicles. Plus, we'll have step-by-step techniques the pros use to bring your project to the next level of realism. So stick around for all this and more here on Hobby Central.
Hi, I'm Sonny DePalma. I custom paint motorcycles for a living, but in my spare time, I love to do die casts and models. I've been modeling a little over 30 years. What started me off originally was Ed Roth, Big Daddy Ed Roth, who was an innovator of custom cars and models back in the 60s. I started building his models with the monsters driving the hot rods with their arms sticking through the ceiling, shifting gears, and that just inspired me to just build more and more. Once it started, it just grew, and the more and more I built the models and got into doing it, the better they were. You know, the better they came out. I'd find new ways of doing things, or I'd make more modifications to the models than I had previously done the last time, and it just it grew into what you see today. You know, some of these pieces take 50 and 60 hours to complete. After I'm done with a piece, it goes on display on top of the entertainment center for a few weeks, and then after it starts getting dusty, it gets cleaned and put away in boxes. I've got boxes upon boxes of die casts and model cars that I've built over the last 20, 30 years that I just I paint them up and I keep them. Someday if I have a house large enough, with wall space enough, I'd love to put everything out on display. It's just, I've got such a quantity of models, it's unbelievable. As soon as I'm done with one, I like to start another. One of my most memorable pieces is this 32 5-window coupe that I got. This was manufactured by American Muscle Machines. What I did was I cut the floor out of the body and I lowered the body down over the frame rails to give it that 1960s retro look, the lowered look. I wired the engine, did all the fuel system on it, and had to cut down the interior because of the lowered frame rails. And what's really nice about this, I also did a mural on the back of Lady Luck, which is a 1960s logo that was very popular. And this also was clear urethane and buffed out. As far as the painting process goes, when I get a die cast, the first thing I do is I take automotive stripper and I strip the body down to bare steel. And then of course you wash off any residue that may be left on it, and then I use a regular automotive primer, and I prime the bodies. Do any body modifications that I may do, as in this Cadillac Escalade, I filled in the rear doors and the rear windows with automotive body filler. And then I painted the car base coat House of Color Purple Pearl. And then all of the artwork is painted on there by hand with airbrush, also with a paintbrush. Some of the detail is so fine that the airbrush can't go that small. So I use paint brushes and acrylic paints to do the really fine detail, as the little craters in the skull and the outline around the outside of the flames. And then after all of the artwork is done, they're clear coated with regular automotive 3-part epoxy clear. And I eventually, after they dry, I do rub them and buff them out the same way you would treat a real vehicle. Being die cast in steel, you can use all of the same materials that I would use on a real van or a real truck. I like all different sizes. That's what makes it so much fun. There's just so many different scales available, from 1/43 scale up to 1/24 scale, and some of these pieces are up to 1/18 scale. Be honest with you, I wish someone would build one 10 foot long. I would love to paint it. I also do remote control cars. I don't only do models and die casts. Just the bodies that are available today are just so cool. This is a 38 Chevy coupe I did. Painted it with all automotive paints. I painted the outside of it in yellow and orange pearls, which are very nice. I fabricated a wing in the back to give it that race car look, and I fabricated a set of wheelie bars as well. And to give it a little attitude, I put a big mean bulldog on the back holding a handgun, busting out the trunk of the car. This is a resin kit. I think it's around 1/18 scale, maybe a little bit larger than that. This is by a fellow sculptor by the name of Jerry Petrie up in the Northeast. And he created these as a tribute to Ed Big Daddy Roth, who was responsible for the original design and concept of this kit. I did a few modifications. I fabricated the base for it, of course, and instead of the shifter ball, I added a really neat skull with ruby eyes, look a little bit more menacing, and did a wild paint scheme on it, as well as this little rat fink up front sitting on a nitro gasoline can. It looks like he just filled the car up with gasoline and he's giving them the thumbs up to fire it up. Yeah, on the back I did a little mural of Ed Roth wearing an airbrush t-shirt with a pinstriping brush in his hand, and it looks like he's applying the pinstriping to the back of the car. And then to the right, of course, is Lady Luck. And even on the rear differential I did a little rat fink head, as well as a couple of burn marks in the asphalt. Looks like he just slammed on the brakes just for an effect. As far as techniques go, I pretty much use the same process on all of the cars. Like I say, I use automotive paints to paint them. I like to go the extra mile and detail them out. I like to wire the engines and put fuel line systems on them and try to make them look as much as a real vehicle as possible. It's just fun to sit there and look at the car and try to figure out new things to do to it. The more you do it, the better you will get. You know, my early models don't hold a match to what I'm capable of doing today, and it's just through experience. It's from building one to the next. The next model gets a little bit easier and gets a little bit nicer, and the quality gets better, and so on and so on. Any beginners that would like to get involved into building die casts, the only thing I can tell you is pick a model of a car or vehicle that you really like. Start off with something that means something to you. Be patient, enjoy yourself with the model. Take it apart, paint it, customize it, put your own little touches and your own personality into the car. That's where the most satisfaction comes from. Don't expect stuff like this right off the bat. I've been doing this for so many years. I've developed it into this art. Start off and do the best job that you possibly can, and then if you keep at it for 25 years, you could probably show me up.
Stay tuned as we bring you our featured product of the week. All that and more coming up next on Hobby Central. Hey there, welcome to Hobby Central's product of the week. This week's feature is the Crazy Dancer. Now it's manufactured by a company out in California called Hoppin' Hydros. Now what this is, it's hydraulic systems for your 1/24th or 1/25th scale plastic model car. Now the system can't support the weight of die cast just yet, but maybe they'll be coming out with something here in the near future. Now it's available in 2 or 4 switch formats. Now I have the 2 switch format right here in front of me, and it's hooked up to a 1977 Monte Carlo lowrider. Now with the 2 switch format you can move up and down, while the 4 switch format is a little more enhanced. You get the up and down motion along with the side to side and even 3-wheel motion for all you Lokesters out there. The system is fairly easy to install, and it's sure to add flair to almost any model car. Now Hoppin' Hydros doesn't only deal in hydraulic systems. They offer a wide variety of aftermarket products to beef up your models as well. Over here we have the 2-tone reversible lowrider rims, the Slim 20s, and my personal favorite, the bed lift spinner kit for plastic model trucks. Now if any of what you have just seen in front of me is of interest to you, you can check out your local hobby store or go online to hoppinhydros.com. Well, that's been it for this edition of Hobby Central's Product of the Week. Stay tuned because we have a whole lot more coming up on the show, including a Very important tip on flocking for all you modelers out there. Stick around. Welcome back to Hobby Central. I'm Jason at Veterans Park in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Standing behind me is an authentic United States Army tank, as real as they get. Now you may wonder what a hobby show has to do with military vehicles. Well, our next guest just happens to be a veteran soldier, and he has a real talent for recreating war machines. Ed Oken is an award-winning model builder and father. We recently got a chance to sit down with him, see his work, and find out what he's all about. Let's check it out.
I've been modeling for 35 years. This hobby gives me a lot of satisfaction and artistic release. Everybody has artistic qualities and they just have to find something that brings it out in them. I like certain eras, particularly ones where I might have had some personal contact. Not only my military experience, but my life experience allows me to look at a model that is painted but not finished. By finished, I mean given the highlights and the weathering that truly brings out all the details in it. Kind of sets it aside from just looking toy-like to becoming a scale model. Walk around a construction site and look at the mud on the tracks of a bulldozer, or next time you're near an airplane, take a look and see where the streaks of grime are coming out of the panels. As far as my techniques, I think that's a culmination of my total experience modeling. I like to airbrush freehand. I don't use masks unless it's to confine a color to a certain area. I always have in my mind, even when I'm just holding a model that's in the basic assembly stage, I always have this impression of the model being painted. The models that you select should be probably of a better quality. If you're going to build a battleship, then don't build the $10 battleship, build the $50 battleship, because chances are there's going to be more detail. The engineering of the model is going to be better. The evolution of kit manufacture has just gone to the pinnacle of quality. As far as I can see, the manufacturers now are trying to outdo themselves. Every month they're putting out new kits that are better than the last ones. They might produce a kit 1 year and then 2 years later they'll re-release the kit and they will have retooled all of the molds, and you find that they really are listening to the modelers now. They're spending more time incorporating details that in the past would have been just overlooked, and this is the kind of thing that enhances the whole hobby. In the old days, in order to build a certain model that was not available, you had to go through some extensive scratch building or conversions. Scratch building is where you start out with an idea of a model, an idea of something you want to see completed as a model, and you do the research on it, you develop your plans. Either you do the plans yourself or you purchase them, and then select your material and go to work. When I first entered my first competition, I had probably been what you'd call a closet modeler for about 15 years. And I'd been married for a few years, and my wife saw the kind of work I was doing, and she really felt that I should compete. My wife has always been my biggest critic, and now I have gotten my children involved in it, and for them, it's more time with Dad. You know, I'm not just cutting blocks of time out and excluding them. They're more involved. They like to go to the hobby shows and to participate in those as well. My relationship with my son started out good and has been enhanced considerably because now we can share our time together while I'm teaching him manual skills. Children these days, they have so many distractions, and a lot of them are not healthy. And I can think of nothing healthier than father and son sitting and doing a craft together, and then also having the added satisfaction of being able to display it later on and having other people look at their work. For me, that's important, and I think my son's benefiting from it as well. Not only are we building the model and I'm showing him the proper technique of assembly and finishing, but at the same time we can discuss the historical aspect of that ship. If I had one final word on it, I would probably say, you know, don't forget to pay attention to your family, because modeling is a solitary hobby. It involves a lot of time concentrating, looking down at a subject on a table in front of you, and a lot can go on around you when you're not looking.
Hey there, we're back here in the Hobby Central studios for our tip of the day. Today we have with us Doug Shea from Works Custom Hobby, and he's here to demonstrate flocking for plastic models. Now Doug, for those who don't know, could you give us a quick definition of flocking?
Sure. Flocking is a really simple way to replicate carpeting or fabric in a model kit or die cast or any craft you want to do around the house. It's really easy to do.
Okay, now that we have an idea of what flocking is, we're doing a car, where do we start?
First you have to determine if you're doing carpet or fabric or what you want to do on the car to replicate what you're trying to do. It's important to use a color that's close to the flocking color you're going to use for coverage. If you use too much of a contrast, the coverage won't look right.
Okay, say I have this gray piece of plastic right here and I want to use red flocking. That's not per se a good thing to do.
No, you would want to use a color, determine your color and have that done by the time you're ready to flock. The thing is, certain flockings are thicker or thinner. This is thicker, so you would use this for carpet.
Okay.
This is very thin.
Almost like a powdered sugar.
Exactly, so you would use that for fabric on a seat or something like that. You can mix colors. It's really easy to do.
Okay, so the first step is picking out which section of the car you'd like to do and finding your colors. What kind of tools we need?
You need some white glue. Now, one of the tricks is to thin the glue a little bit so the weight of the flocking will hold to the glue. That's very important. And then I have a salt and pepper shaker that I've drilled the holes bigger, which just really helps. And then I have a strainer. This is my favorite. It works perfect. Then you need some paint brushes. And I have a flat edge brush that just works great. It just gets into areas.
Like the little cracks and such.
Exactly.
Hard to reach.
And it's
places.
nice flat. It just covers really well. And that's all you need.
Okay, now that we know what we need and what we need to start, why don't you take it away?
Sure.
Show us how it's done.
Let's try. It's very simple. You just take the glue and you put some on the piece you're going to do. And you don't even have to get that perfect with it, because any imperfections are just going to kind of look like the carpet or the fabric was vacuumed. You brush
so like
it on.
the little lines you got going on there, they're going to look like vacuum marks then.
Right. The nice thing about the water-based glue is that it will usually level itself out. See how easy it is?
Yep. So there's no need for perfection. It's not like you're painting here.
No, and if you make a mistake, just go in the kitchen and rinse it out. It's water-based. It's simple.
So even if you have the flocking already on and you get it, you put it on a little uneven, or you don't like how it looks, you just take it to the kitchen and run it under the sink and start it all over.
That's all you have to do. Now you take the flocking and you pour it in the strainer. Just need a little. It really goes a long way. And then you tap it over the piece.
Wow, carpet appearing before my eyes.
See
That's
how
pretty
simple
neat.
it is? Some people are real intimidated by it. It's just simple. Now sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the top of the flocking container
Mm-hmm.
and I'll push the flocking down just to make sure that it's stuck to the glue well. And that's it.
And now with the excess, what do you do? I see you got some.
I do it on a piece of paper.
Just kind of tap it out.
I'll use the brush, brush the excess out, and then let it dry, put it aside and let it dry.
And you have carpet.
That's it.
Wow, that's pretty
And
neat.
I'll take the excess. I like to do it on a piece of notebook paper,
Uh-huh.
fold it in half, and just pour it back in the container.
Easy enough. Now, let's say I have a color in mind I want to do. I'm at the hobby shop, and I'm not finding that color. Is there anything I can do?
There are a full rainbow of colors available, but if you still can't find what you want, you can mix colors. This is a mixture of burgundy and black,
It's pretty sharp.
and this is a mixture of red and white.
Kind of like a soft, fluffy pink.
Exactly, and it doesn't look like a solid color. It
Right.
just adds some depth to your model.
Character.
And here's another mixture too.
All right, about how much does the flocking run price-wise?
Usually about $2 a container.
It was pretty cheap.
Some of the craft stores sell it a lot more inexpensive, but their colors are very limited. Hobby stores have hundreds of colors, full spectrum, every color of the rainbow.
Okay, now I noticed over here, Doug, in this Impala, you have two-tone seats, which looks like you almost have a leather and a cloth on the seat. That's pretty sharp.
Exactly. That's just one of the reasons. It's just how the flocking should come out. It's so simple.
Looks beautiful. Well, I guess that's it for Hobby Central's Tip of the Week. I'd like to thank you very much, Doug,
Thanks
for
for
being
having
here
me.
today. And folks, I hope you join us next week when we have a lot more hobbies to explore. See you soon.
Well, thanks for sticking around. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Hobby Central. Catch us next week when we'll bring you into the world of electric trains.